Hey there, and welcome to How to Voice Acting. My name is Stanpai, and if you're listening to this, there's a good chance you're interested in learning more about the world of voiceover. Well, luckily for you, that is the entire purpose of this show. In How to Voice Acting, I'm going to be covering some different things that I've learned, experienced, or discovered while pursuing the world of acting for myself. That process has included talking with other actors and professionals in the industry, getting some time with literature, learning more about it, and of course, actually getting out there and performing. So, from these different resources, I hope to be able to give you or whoever is interested in learning about voiceover some of the useful information that you can hang on to get yourself to that next step, whether it's your hobby, passion, something you do for fun, or something you want to make out of a career. Today's episode is all about answering the following question. What does it mean to be a voice actor? Now, that might seem like a kind of obvious thing to answer, but in reality, there are actually a few misconceptions about that. So something you'll hear a lot is the term voice-over versus voice actor. Often they're used interchangeably, but voiceover is a very large blanket term that really refers to putting a voice over something. That's very obvious, right? Whether it's a commercial on TV or maybe over a scene with a cartoon, whatever it may be, voiceover covers a lot of different things. Maybe it's a new movie trailer. Whatever it is, voiceover is a very broad term, but to be a voice actor is where we're going to focus on today. Being a voice actor does not mean being an impressionist. The difference between an impressionist and an actor, well, the biggest thing is that an impressionist solely focuses on sounding like somebody else, sounding like someone who already exists, a character like, for example, Bugs Bunny, or Hank Hill, or whomever, some famous character, or not necessarily famous, but something that's already out there. Or they try to sound like another person, right? A good example, I like to do Gilbert Gottfried. I always had fun doing Gilbert Gottfried impressions. Like,
"What are you doing in here? Get out of my show!"
That kind of thing has always been a lot of fun. I'll do it at parties, and people, they laugh. They have a good time talking to Gilbert Gottfried. But if I was to try to get hired to do a part, it would not be very easy if I was up against Gilbert Gottfried, right? Because he already is that person. It's his voice. And so impressionists, they really only get work or find a niche for themselves in very specific scenarios, either when the real person is no longer available or for some other very exclusive case-by-case reasons. Now, I'll give one example that I think is pretty significant of there not being an option to cast the original person. One of my favorite actors growing up went by the name Mako. Now, he performed in a number of different series, but the two I'll mention, because they're most relevant to this example, are Samurai Jack and Avatar: The Last Airbender. Mako was the voice of Aku and Uncle Iroh, two extremely iconic roles, made even more so because of his incredible voice. Unfortunately, before the end of either of these series, Mako died. Now, what are you going to do when you have a character that's still part of the show, but the actor's no longer alive? In our case, that we're talking about right now, the option was to hire somebody to be what's called a voice match. A voice match is somebody whose impression of another actor or person sounds like their original voice. And in the example I just gave, that would be a good reason to do an impression. But for the most part, when it comes to the world of voice acting, you're not going to be doing impressions, you're going to be doing actual original interpretations of the characters that you're given. I'll go into a little bit more of what I mean by that. The first key component in the word voice actor is not voice, but actually actor. That is the primary factor of being a voice actor. To be a voice actor means that you are acting. Everything you're doing is an acting performance. You're putting on a show using your voice, and your voice is communicating all the different nuances that go into an acting performance. And so, for this reason, to be a voice actor, first and foremost, means to be an actor. Now, if you don't have any experience as an actor, maybe you haven't taken the chance to, or you're interested but haven't gotten started, that's totally fine. You can still practice doing new voices, And in another episode, I'll be talking more about different voices and finding your own voice. But today I just want to talk about what it means to be a voice actor, and that means getting yourself familiarized with acting as a skill. So acting can be pursued in a number of ways. There's community theater, maybe school productions, television, all these different formats in which acting is needed, and each of them calls for a different kind of skill set. Voice acting is a specialized version of acting that relies entirely on the voice to deliver the performance. So there are certain nuances in your voice that you'll want to focus on that capture the spirit of what's on screen or what's being imagined or following the sound effects, whether it's a radio program, a cartoon, or whatever it is. That's where the voice component comes in, right? Because it's only your voice that gets brought over to the final product. In the case of acting in general, really the experience is all about being in a moment and acting by reacting to the world that's around you, thinking and answering like your character would. Now, there are different forms of acting, and this is not going to be an acting tutorial. There are many qualified people out there who can teach you acting, especially because there are different styles of acting. I myself tend to be a pretty method actor. What that means is I tend to be the character, right? For me, I become that character, my body language, everything. I try to follow into who they are, think like they do, and be the character, like actually be and feel what they're experiencing. That's not how everyone acts, and that's why for some people there are different formats and skills and styles that make more sense. But whatever it may be, at the end of the day, you're going to have to translate those acting skills into then the specialized version of voice acting. A voice acting session, regardless of how you do it, usually will consist of you having a script, a microphone, and whatever it is you're about to present. Sometimes that might be something where you have a director telling you, hey, this is what I think of this performance, I need you to change that, or do it more like this, or here's my feedback. Sometimes you're directing yourself and you're just winging it, especially in an audition, right? You don't know exactly what they're looking for other than what's been written on paper. We'll talk more about that stuff later, but really what I want to emphasize and focus on, again, what does it mean to be a voice actor? It means being an actor. You will hear this not from me exclusively, but from every major actor out there. Every actor that I've ever spoken to about voiceover, everybody I've asked, or been in a panel with, or attended a seminar, whatever it was, when asked the question about being a voice actor, what is the first thing you should do? Almost every one of them says, learn how to act. Because that is the most important part. The acting is the foundation of everything you're going to do after that point. So to be a voice actor means not just to do impressions. It doesn't mean to make voices. It means to be an actor. It means to be something that you're not. Or in some cases, it means to be yourself. All the world's a stage, and all the men and women merely players. Right? Ever heard that one? Well, that's some Shakespeare for you, but that aside, I just really wanted to hit home the importance of acting as a foundation for what you do. There are certain cues and skills that go into every single component of the voiceover process that are learned. There are foundational, important experiences as an actor that will bring you further as a voice actor. And so, what is a voice actor? They're an actor. They specialize in using their voice to communicate whatever it is their script is asking of them. When you look at a character on a screen and you see what they look like and how they move and the kind of things they do, their voice often will try to match exactly what that character is like. And if they did a good job of casting and directing and acting, chances are they've delivered. So I've said it enough times, but I'm going to add it one last time. Voice actors are actors. Put some time and energy into acting, and you will be doing it the right way. There are many different formats for voiceover, as I mentioned earlier, from commercial to character to what have you. But no matter what it is, those skills will be useful in every different facet of it. I myself, I did musical theater, right? I loved it. I had a lot of fun performing, and really one of my first major performances as a voice actor was unintentional. In a sense, I was the plant in Little Shop of Horrors, the Audrey 2. And for that role, I was off stage with a microphone, going over my music and my lines, just with that. And I had to match what the perceived personality of the plant was, while another actor was inside of the plant moving it as a puppeteer. For that scenario, I was definitely a voice actor, but I was reacting to actors on stage. I was reacting to what they said to me, and based on how they interacted with me, I had to interact back, right? The word act is in the center of interact, react. These words, they're all fundamental parts of acting. So don't think that by being a voice actor, that means just doing voices. That's really the key takeaway I want to leave you with for this particular session. Please give acting its proper shake, because it will be the thing that makes you the real deal. Being educated and practicing, that is really what puts you a step ahead and gets you more into the spirit of being a voice actor. And I tell you, there are so many people who, I've heard criticisms, especially for things like anime, where they have English actors, or American English-speaking actors performing, the Japanese replacement, right? They're dubbing over, and they might have like a bad opinion of, oh, well, they're not real actors. Pfft. Well, this is a way that you counteract that. Actually, I am a real actor. I've done acting. I'm using those skills with my voice specifically right now, but I'm definitely an actor. The same can be said of just about every other voice actor. They've got experience one way or another over the years doing acting. And if you feel moved by a performance, like you feel like the performance communicated a sense of realism to you, you felt like that was authentic when it's just a character, well, that makes a big difference. And so there's phoning it in, and then there's really acting. And a seasoned ear, or even sometimes just a spectator, can notice the difference between somebody who does act and somebody who doesn't. Don't be afraid. Don't feel like you're inadequate, and don't get discouraged. Anybody can learn these things, and anybody can pursue them. And even if you're the best in the world, you can still get better, right? Never set a limitation on yourself, because then you get stagnant and you'll never improve. So with that said, I'm Stanpai. I hope I've answered the question of what is a voice actor, right? It's an actor. That's the key. And please keep that with you at all times. Cross-reference what I said, whether it's in a book about voice acting or asking a professional actor at a convention or at some opportunity, wherever it may be, you will get the same answer. Acting is important. Acting is fundamental. And you can be a voice actor. Thanks for tuning in for another episode of How to Voice Acting. I really appreciate you being here. As always, I'd love to see you leave behind feedback on what you thought of the episode or what subject you'd like me to cover in the future. Also, be sure to check out other episodes in the series. At the time of this recording, I've also covered things like vocal warm-ups. So I'd love for you guys to be able to use this as a powerful resource to get you more acclimated to what it means to be a voice actor, and then actually doing it. Go out, have fun, and go play, right? They're called players, right? An actor is a player. It's called a play. Go play, go have fun, use your voice and do cool things. And if you do impressions, don't think you should get rid of them, because in a future episode, I'll definitely be talking about why they are valuable. So in the meantime, stay tuned, stay awesome, and I'll speak to you soon. This is Stanpai. Thanks again.